Hey folks, today's April 8th, 2018. This is the second weekend edition of the Roland Martin Unfiltered podcast. Certainly glad to have all of you join me. Before I get into today's focus, let me remind the folks out there, especially the brothers and all the men out there, there's a new product that you could actually try to assist you when it comes to male baldness. Now, nearly 70% of men lose their hair by the age of 35. And of course, that it's traumatic for some, difficult for some. I think I remember I was working at WVON radio in Chicago when I began to lose mine. And so I didn't freak out like, oh my God, what's going on? But the reality is, that is the case for lots of men, and so one of the things that I want to talk about with this particular product is that the beauty of it is that you don't have to go into a doctor. So what happens is you can pick the phone up. You can actually doctor's going to ask you a few questions. They'll review those particular notes and then make a prescription. The product is actually shipped to your door. And so for those of you who are dealing with bald spots, you're dealing with receding hair loss, this is one way for you to be able to begin to restore your hair. Now, this is very simple. You can order this product. And again, the trial month is about $5. That's it, $5 for the trial month. And again, all you got to go to is go to forhims.com/Roland. That's forhims.com/Roland, ROLAND. Again, it's forhims.com/Roland for you to actually try this particular product. Again, you don't have to go into a doctor's office. Again, what it's all about is about you being able to keep your hair using a solution that has been medically tested for you to do so. And so again, all you got to do is go to forhims.com/Roland, forhims.com/Roland, forhims.com/Roland. All right, so let's get into today's podcast. Yesterday, I talked about Tony Robbins. Of course, I deconstructed these recent comments that he made on he was in San Jose, and it was dealing with Me Too movement. It was a whole bunch of stuff. Well, guess what? After this thing blew up on yesterday, Tony Robbins dropped an apology today. This is what he put on Twitter. At a recent Unleash the Power Within event in San Jose, my comments failed to reflect the respect I have for everything Tarana Burke and the Me Too movement has achieved. I apologize for suggesting anything other than my profound admiration for the Me Too movement. Let me clearly say, I agree with the goals of the Me Too movement and its founding message of empowerment through empathy, which makes it a beautiful force for good. For 40 years, I've encouraged people to grow into the men and women they dream to be. I watch in awe as more and more women all over the world find their voice and stand up and speak out. All of our growth begins with learning. My own started with a childhood marked by abuse. I am humbled that others have looked to the path that I have taken in the decades since as lessons in their own journey. But sometimes the teacher has to become the student, and it is clear that I still have much to learn. I teach that life happens for you, not to you, and what I've realized is that while I've dedicated my life to working with victims of abuse all over the world, I need to get connected to the brave women of Me Too. I'm committed to being part of the solution. I'm committed to helping to educate others so that we all stay true to the ideals of the Me Too movement. I will never stop examining my own words and actions to make sure I am staying true to those ideals. That begins with this brief statement, but will not end until our goals are reached, Tony Robbins. Now, okay, nice, nope, got it, okay, cool, whatever you want to call it. Here's the problem with this note. The problem with this note is that Tony Robbins does not acknowledge as a man how he blew off this movement. Let me say it again. As a man, how he blew it off. Now, when I tweeted yesterday at how I perceived what he had to say as a heterosexual male, I had these two people sent me, why did you include heterosexual in there? Because first of all, Tony Robbins made the point that he had a male friend in Hollywood who was very powerful, very well known, who was choosing between three people, two men and one woman, the woman was eminently qualified, more so than men, but he was stressed out about hiring her because she was beautiful. So I told these people, I said, well, the reason I included the reference in there as a heterosexual male is because, well, a heterosexual male will be the one who would be attracted to a woman like that. Duh. So that's why I put that. But see, this is the problem here. And this is why Tony Robbins, his tweet, his so-called apology misses the mark. What the Me Too movement requires is men of conscience. What the Me Too movement requires, the Time's Up movement requires, is for men to lead. And when I say lead, I don't mean they are leading women. They are leading other men. What I'm saying is this requires for men to actually be willing to challenge other men about what they say and do. Because see, here's the reality. Women are not in the same places where Tony Robbins is. Tony Robbins is a man. Tony Robbins is dealing with other powerful men who he knows as friends, who he is advising, he is counseling. And so what the Me Too movement needs is not for Tony Robbins to be talking to other women. They need him to assume the leadership when he is dealing with men. They need Tony Robbins and other men like him to challenge men when crazy things are said, to challenge these men when they are making sexist comments, to challenge these men when it comes to their behavior. See, that's what it requires. See, part of this deal is when men see other men in leadership and they are abusing their position in order to curry sexual favors. That is a problem. And that's what I see as a problem here. The problem I see here is that men are unwilling to challenge other men. I'll give you a story. My frat brother Hill Harper, fellow Alpha, says that he was going hooping with his brother, and Hill asked his brother, he said, hey man, how's your daughter? So the brother said that, well, he had not seen his daughter in quite some time because her mama was tripping. And he was like, well, hold up, what do you mean? He said, you need to call your daughter right now. And he was like, man, what are you talking about? He'll say it very simply. You can't find time to play basketball with me, and then you don't have time for your daughter. So we can't hoop if you're unwilling to call your daughter. See, that's a man holding another man accountable. Hill could have easily said, man, look, we'll keep hooping and I hope you call her. No, Hill at that very moment said, I am going to be a man who holds another man accountable. And that's what this requires. We have to understand that the reality is when you're in the boys club, when you're in the locker room atmosphere, when you're in the all male foursome at the country club, the reality is things are being said and done by men where no women are around. What it requires is for a man to have a conscience, to be able to say what you're saying or doing is grossly unfair. That is what is required. I would hope that Tony Robbins and other men will realize that those are the things that they must do. I would hope they would realize that they must be willing to say some things and do some things and hold men accountable to what they say and do. The reality is, if men would be men, then you would not have the problem of Me Too. I'm not saying that men can stop it alone. What I am saying is that if men would be willing to challenge their buddies, their friends, their drinking buddies, their golf buddies, their racquetball buddies, then we will have a different America. But as long as men are willing to make excuses, as long as men are willing to say nothing, then we are going to continue to have a problem in this country. I would hope and I wish Tony Robbins had put in his letter that he would accept the responsibility of training, of counseling, of encouraging men to respond differently when it comes to women in the workplace. That is where the Me Too movement needs Tony Robbins. They don't need him talking to women. They need him dealing with men. Folks, hit me up on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all at Roland S. Martin. You can also follow me on my Facebook page. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. We want to hit 200,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. And so we've got about 60,000 more that will get us to our goal. So I certainly hope that you will follow us on my particular channel as well. Again, it's youtube.com/Roland. We're sitting at 138,708. That's where we are sitting right now. Okay, folks, I've got to go. Hope you have a great day. I shall see you this week. Roland Martin Unfiltered. Be sure to tell a friend to download this podcast. Thanks a lot and have a great day.